The planet Orveth shivered under a violet dusk, its jagged mountains cutting shadows into the amber sands below. The wind screamed across the rocky plains, carrying the tang of ionized air from distant storms. Nera crouched behind a fractured spire, her cloak whipping violently around her as she watched the battlefield. Everywhere she looked, human mercenaries lay strewn across the ground, armor scorched and plasma smoke curling from ruptured veins. She had never witnessed such chaos, yet she remained calm, almost serene, as though the storm around her existed only on a separate plane of reality. A soldier staggered toward her, coughing, a glowing wound across his chest. Nera's ears flicked, slender, pointed, and attuned to the faintest heartbeat. She didn't flinch. Her eyes, black as obsidian, scanned him. "You should not be here," she murmured, voice soft but carrying the weight of centuries. I'm fine," he croaked, collapsing onto the sand. "I thought I was going to die." Nera knelt beside him, brushing grit from his armor. Her hand hovered over his chest, fingertips glowing faint silver. The light pulsed like a heartbeat of its own. "You fought bravely," she said, voice tinged with amusement and something older, something sorrowful. "Clumsily, but brave enough." The soldier tried to respond, his lips trembling. Nera sighed, drawing a thin blade from her belt, one that shimmered like liquid starlight. With a swift, precise movement, she sliced across her wrist. Silver light welled from the cut, glowing unnaturally, defying gravity and reason. The soldier stared, frozen in disbelief. "Drink," she commanded softly, pressing the luminous blood to his lips. The moment it touched him, fire and ice surged through his veins. His chest wound sealed itself with a warmth that burned and healed all at once. He gasped, chest expanding with renewed life. Colors sharpened, sounds rang like crystal, and the cold of Orvetha's wastelands vanished from his bones. What?" he stammered. "Immortal." Nera's smile was almost imperceptible. "For now. You are bound to me." He staggered to his feet, testing his strength. Every movement felt fluid, precise, faster than instinct should allow. Silver veins pulsed beneath his skin. "Bound to you?" he asked, voice awed and uneasy. She nodded. "Through blood. Through bond. You will feel what I feel, and I, yours." Before he could process more, the hum of scavenger drones broke the silence. Spotlights swept across the sands, sensors tracking anything that moved. Nera grabbed his arm, pulling him into the shadow of a jagged ruin. "They hunt warmth," she warned. "Rude," he muttered, staring down at the silver light pulsing beneath his skin. "I'm barely warm." "You glow," Nera said flatly. The human blinked, then shrugged helplessly. "Guess I'm flashy now." They moved quickly, ducking under wreckage and through tunnels carved long before humans walked among the stars. Nera's footsteps were silent. He stumbled behind her, tripping over uneven stones, every misstep illuminating the path like a malfunctioning lantern. The tunnel opened into a vast hall, crystalline pillars rising like frozen lightning. Streams of metallic light spiraled within, humming with ancient power. Nera stopped. "Do not touch," she warned. "These hold echoes of my people, memories, knowledge, the essence of those we thought eternal." He obeyed, staring in awe at the glowing columns. "Guess eternity isn't very subtle," he muttered. Her expression softened as she led him deeper, past more chambers filled with relics, blades forged from obsidian and moon steel, armor that shimmered like molten shadow. "These are the remnants of the Sangari," she explained. "We believed eternity meant never being forgotten. Yet here we are, ghosts among echoes." He grinned despite himself. Surprise. History is bad at keeping receipts. She shot him a half smile, one fleeting but genuine, before her focus returned to the tunnels. They were not alone. Footsteps echoed in distant corridors, rhythmic, coordinated, inhuman. Patrols. Mercenary forces seeking the last of her kind. "Why do they hunt you?" he whispered. "Because I am the last Sangari," Nera said, voice low. "Some believe the last should not remain." "Then they'll have to go through me," he said, shrugging, trying to inject humor into the fear. She regarded him for a long moment, eyes narrowing. "You would stand with me?" I didn't sign up for immortality, psychic Wi-Fi, or glowing veins, he said, but here we are. Running isn't my strong suit. A tremor shook the ground as patrols approached faster than they should have. Nira grabbed his arm, leading him into a side corridor lined with bioluminescent fungi that cast shifting green and violet lights across her pale skin. His pulse surged, his silverlit veins flared involuntarily. They reached a chasm, ancient machinery spinning in the depths below. A narrow bridge curved across, fragile yet glowing with the same crystalline energy as the pillars above. She stepped onto it with effortless grace. He followed, trying not to look down. Halfway across, their psychic bond pulsed. Sharp, cold, urgent. They are close, she whispered. Why do they fear you? He asked. Nira froze, eyes lifting to meet his. Because they know what I am. What we are. The patrols arrived, dozens of armored figures entering the chamber, weapons raised. Queen Nira, their commander called. You should have remained forgotten. The soldier stepped in front of her, fists tightening. Rude greeting. Anyone want to negotiate? Perhaps over a drink. Nira's fingers brushed his arm, calming and strengthening him at once. They will not stop, she whispered. Plasma beams fired, slicing the air. Nira moved with predatory elegance, dodging, striking, her blade a streak of silvered shadow. He followed, less graceful but just as effective, each movement enhanced by the immortal energy coursing through him. Plasma bolts deflected, hunters thrown back by waves of raw force. One hunter launched a graviton pulse toward Nira. He reacted instinctively, throwing himself into its path. The impact struck like colliding stars, throwing him across the floor. Pain surged, but he healed instantly, the immortal energy knitting bone and sinew in an electric flash. Nira rushed to him, her eyes wide with fear for the first time in centuries. Are you? I'm fine, he said, grinning weakly. Immortal. Ugly, but immortal. The battle raged. Nira's command over the chamber awakened its ancient core. Lights pulsed, platforms descended, relics shifting as if alive. She extended her hand, connecting with the reactor, and a wave of radiant force cascaded through the hunters, disarming them without a single fatality. Silence fell. The chamber hummed with quiet power, dust settling. You carried my blood, Nira said softly. But more than that, you stood with me when running would have been easier. You reminded me that eternity does not have to be cold. He stepped closer, the bond between them settling into something steady, warm. We're even, he said. Not even, she replied, aligned. Outside, the tunnels quieted. The remaining hunters had retreated, unwilling to challenge the awakened heart of a Sangari queen and her newly immortal companion. He tested his limbs. So, what now? Cosmic sightseeing. Maybe find a planet with food so I can pretend to eat. She smiled gently. Wherever we go together. Eternity is long. It is easier with someone who refuses to be serious. I can provide a lifetime of that, he promised. And beyond a lifetime, she said, as they stepped side by side into the violet dusk of Orvath, two immortals bound by blood and choice, ready to face the universe together. For the first time, he felt not cursed, not overwhelmed, but ready. Eternity, he thought, might actually be worth it. The twin suns of Orvath dipped low, casting elongated shadows across the jagged plains. The violet dusk faded into a deep indigo, broken only by the flickering glow of distant energy flares. Varen walked beside Nira, each step feeling heavier despite the immortality that now coursed through his veins. His silver-lit veins pulsed faintly, a quiet reminder that he was no longer human, not entirely. Nira moved with the ease of someone born to glide across alien landscapes, her cloak brushing the jagged rocks, the tips of her ears catching stray threads of light. Varen stumbled occasionally, more from distraction than terrain. Each time he tripped, a burst of silver light flared from his skin, illuminating the path ahead. So, now we're officially immortal warriors, he muttered, squinting at the horizon. Any idea how to handle that? Nira glanced at him, one eyebrow lifting. Handle it. You adapt. We adapt. Eternity is a long teacher, Varen. He sighed, rubbing his jaw. Long teacher, great. Do they have homework too? Her lips twitched with the faintest hint of a smile before vanishing into her usual composure. Focus. We are not safe yet. Varen followed her as they descended into a narrow canyon, the walls etched with carvings older than any starship in human memory. The images depicted strange, elongated figures, Sangari ancestors, warriors, scholars, all frozen in eternal acts of creation and vigilance. The silver light of his veins made the carvings shimmer, revealing details invisible in the dim dusk. Your people, they left a lot behind, he said softly. They tried, Nira replied. Before the collapse, we believed that nothing truly ends if it is remembered. The relics, the tunnels, the reactors, they are our legacy. Varen touched one of the carvings, tracing the delicate etchings of a Sangari warrior raising a blade toward a starlit sky. And now, you're the last of them. Yes, she said quietly. Until now, I believed I would remain alone. For 3,000 years, I have walked in silence. And now, her voice trailed off, a rare softness entering her tone. You are here. He hesitated. So, you saved me, made me immortal, and now I'm bound to your bloodline? That's a lot of pressure for one day. Perhaps, she admitted. But the bond will protect you. It will also make you part of something larger than yourself. That is the gift, and the responsibility. The canyon opened into a hidden valley, the sky overhead streaked with aurora-like energy pulses. Ancient ruins littered the terrain, half swallowed by sand and stone. In the center, a massive structure rose, a fortress built from black crystal, veined with luminescent silver. Nira's eyes softened as they approached. This was once the heart of Orvath, she said. The final seat of my people. Only the worthy may enter, or those bound by blood. Varen stopped, staring at the black crystal fortress. So, I'm worthy now. Nira's gaze met his, unwavering. You chose to stand, not flee. That is more than many could do. Yes. The gates of the fortress shimmered as they neared, responding to Nira's presence. She touched the surface lightly, and the black crystal pulsed, opening like the breathing of some immense, dormant creature. They stepped inside. The interior was vast beyond comprehension, ceilings lost in shadow, walls veined with luminous silver energy. Platforms floated, carrying relics that hummed with long-forgotten power. At the center, a deep pool of liquid light reflected the two of them, distorting their forms like a living mirror. This is the Nexus, Nira said softly. The heart of all Sangari power. Here, I can teach you, guide you, and prepare you for what is coming. Varen peered into the pool. His reflection stared back, silver veins glowing like molten starlight beneath his skin. So, I'm basically a walking power source now. Not just a source, Nira corrected. You are a protector, a companion, someone who can share in the burdens and knowledge of eternity. He swallowed. Burden, knowledge, eternity. Sounds like a resume I didn't apply for. Nira allowed herself a small, amused smile. You will learn to bear it. And perhaps, to enjoy it. Their moment was broken by a sudden tremor. The fortress shivered, as though something deep within had awakened. The liquid light in the Nexus rippled violently, reflecting shadows that did not belong to the two of them. They know we are here, Nira whispered, her voice tense. The hunters, they will not stop. Not until all traces of the Sangari are gone. Varen's pulse quickened, silver veins flaring. And we just wait for them? Or do we throw another light show? She shook her head. No. We prepare. They are cunning. The hunter squads that attacked earlier, they were scouts. This time, they will come with more. They will come with knowledge of my power. And they will bring weapons designed to kill immortals. He swallowed hard, trying not to show fear. Great. I was just getting used to glowing veins and psychic Wi-Fi. Now we're on the top of the target list. Nira's expression hardened. Do you understand what it means to hunt immortals? Yeah, Varen muttered. It probably ends badly for the not immortal. Yes, she said, voice low. And for the unprepared. She led him deeper into the fortress, past chambers filled with relics, past halls where the air hummed with latent energy. Each step seemed to awaken the stones themselves, ancient magic and technology resonating in quiet anticipation. Finally, they reached a chamber carved from a single monolith of black crystal. At its center was a pedestal holding a weapon unlike any Varen had ever seen, a blade formed of condensed light and dark matter, its surface shifting with impossible angles, almost alive. "This," Nera said, placing her hand lightly on the hilt, "is the Astral Fang. Forged to protect the last of my kind, it responds only to those bonded with Sangari blood. You will learn to wield it, if you survive the lesson." He reached toward it tentatively. As his fingers brushed the blade, a shockwave of energy pulsed through him. Visions flashed, battlefields across the stars, civilizations rising and falling, faces of beings long gone. He staggered backward. "Do not fear it," Nera instructed. "The blade shows potential, warns of danger, strengthens resolve. It is part of your bond now, part of your growth." Varen nodded, catching his breath. "I guess. I just have to survive until the lesson starts." She smiled, a rare softness in her ageless face. "You will. But the hunters are already moving. You must be ready before they arrive." A sudden gust swept through the chamber as alarms flared in the distance. The hunters had discovered the fortress. Metallic footsteps, the hum of graviton weapons, and the flicker of plasma fire echoed faintly from above. Varen looked at Nera. "So, do we fight them here?" She extended her hand, and the floor beneath them shifted, raising platforms and barriers, creating a labyrinthine battlefield. "We fight only when necessary. We prepare. And if we must, we unleash everything the Nexus holds." He swallowed, nerves sparking through his silver-lit veins. "Prepare, fight, unleash. Got it. Step 1. Try not to die. Step 2. Step 2, she said, eyes narrowing. Learn what it means to be immortal, bonded, and part of a legacy that refuses to end." Varen nodded. "Legacy, huh? That sounds heavy." "It is," she admitted. "And dangerous. But it is also beautiful. You will see." The chamber pulsed as the hunters approached. Shadows moved across the outer halls, voices calling orders. Varen's silver veins flared again, instinctive energy surging through him. He glanced at Nera. "Ready?" he asked, half grinning despite the tension. She nodded, drawing her blade, its surface glowing like captured moonlight. "Ready." Together, they moved toward the outer gates of the fortress. The hunters would soon arrive, and the trial of fire, shadow, and light would begin. Varen had survived death once. Now, he would face something far more complex. Eternity in the company of the last Sangari, and the enemies who would see her and him destroyed. The violet dusk of Orveth deepened, and the fortress thrummed with anticipation, alive and awake for the first time in 3,000 years. And Varen, the newly immortal, bound by blood and bond, felt the first real weight of what it meant to live forever, and fight forever, for something larger than himself. The hunters would arrive. The fortress would awaken. And the last light of Orveth would shine, but only if they survived the night.